Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today is the long-awaited collection video. This video is gonna probably be pretty long. I'm gonna do my best to edit it. If you just want to skip to the end, I'll show all the characters and everything. These engines mean a lot to me, so I figured I'd talk to you guys about them as we go along. Let's begin. So first up, Thomas. We all know Thomas. This is the one I currently use in videos. I've used, I think, 3 Thomases throughout my days on YouTube, because I'm very picky with what Thomas I use, but this is the one I currently use. This is a 2001 model from memory. It came with the Thomas and Percy electric train set, so it came with Percy as well. I mean, I keep these models in like pristine condition pretty much whenever I can. So yeah, for those who don't know, Thomas is my favorite model I own, and probably forever will stay that way. There's Thomas. But we don't just have one Thomas, because of course we don't. Here's another Thomas. This is the 1990s variant, I believe, just by looking at it. It's got the back stripe. I know a lot of people like the pinstriping on the back. The other Thomas we looked at, the 2000s one, did not have that. It's got a more pronounced number 1. It's hard to tell in this lighting, but he is definitely... Let me grab the other Thomas. He's definitely darker, although you can't even tell on camera, can you? They look almost the same, but they're not. They are different. This one I just got very recently from the Clay Railways on YouTube, so thank you very much for this Thomas and a few others that we'll be looking at today. He wasn't working when I got him, but now he runs phenomenally, as we'll see later in the video when I'm running these guys a little bit. There is, I want to say, 1990s Thomas. I know this as the CS SquarePants Thomas, though, because this, I'm pretty sure, is the same Thomas he used, although his had a modified funnel to make it a little taller. But if you know, you know. If you don't, shut up. Moving right along with another Thomas, this is the 70th anniversary metallic Thomas. This one I got the year it came out. I think it was 2015, the 70th anniversary, I think. It doesn't get run too often, though, so pretty much mint, yeah. But he's a really cool Thomas. It's got the newer style face on it. So, this is a very cool Thomas. He goes for quite a lot. I barely paid anything for him when he came out. So, it's a very cool piece to have in your collection. So, going by number order, it would be Edward next. I believe this one is 2006. I love the Hornby Edward. I don't want to hear anything in the comments after I said that. Hornby Edward, I like him. Let me like him, okay? I've had this guy for a little bit. I used to not have Edward for the longest time. Most of my tender engines or ones with exposed cabs do have a crew that I've painted and put in there, so Edward is one of them. Although you've probably seen it in the excellent Edward episode I did. Here's the tender, number 2. Vacuum pipe, yeah, he's getting a little dusty here, but when I'm done filming a season, I always go in and I clean them up. It's just we're midway through season 4 at the moment, so I don't really have time to do that. Edward, ladies and gentlemen. Edward. Next one is one I get comments about all the time. Henry. Because for the longest time, Henry was not in my videos. And I had some people asking me if I hated Henry. Of course I don't hate Henry. I love Henry. He's awesome. Just my Henry was broke for a little bit. I accidentally blew the motor up. I'm not going to explain how because I'll sound like a complete idiot, but I blew the motor up. So this is actually a Black 5 chassis. If I remember to on screen, I'll put up the body shell of it. But I went on Hatton's, I bought a Black 5 that was in really poor condition. It barely ran for like 40 bucks, and now he runs flawlessly because I just went in and I made him work again, because that's what I do. I think I matched the color pretty good, the shade of green there. Yeah, there's Henry. I love Henry. So now that he works, I'm very happy. So, Henry, ladies and gentlemen. Freaking Henry. Next one is one I know you all like quite a lot because everyone seems to really like Gordon. I can't blame y'all, I like him too. I have the 1980s one. I think he's in my attic though. I'm sorry, I couldn't be bothered to get him out. But here's the one that you see in videos now. He has the crew as well. Henry does too. I didn't even show. I'll show you. See, I stick to my word. But this Gordon is in very, very good condition. I try to keep him that way. I got him from a fantastic seller. Someone who, I wish I could remember their eBay username. But they go in and like They actually service their locos and stuff, so when I got him, I mean, he ran fantastic. I serviced him anyway, like I always do, but I really didn't have to. He's got the back lining as well. But there's Gordon. Here's one of my personal favorites. It is James, of course. Who else would it be? My model of James is a stamp collection James, though I believe it's the same just as your normal James, although I've had this James since 2011. So I've gone in and added bits of detail. For example, this stripe here usually isn't painted, but I went in and painted it gold. I painted this little whistle back here gold. It's got a great face on him. I love the James face. It's fantastic. He does have crew though that I fitted, and I did paint his cab interior detail. It's usually not painted. It is molded though, but I painted it. Here's the tender. Not as dusty as Gordon's, funny enough. But everyone seems to really like Hornby's definitely not Edward. Hornby's, James, and Henry a lot. I'd recommend James if you can find him for a decent price. So again, going in number order, we all know that Percy comes next, and we actually have a few Percys to look at, so let's not stick to Percy for too long here, but here's the one I normally use. He came in the set with Thomas from 2001, so him and Thomas have been packed in the same box together since the day they were created, so they're like brothers, but closer. But this Percy is really cool. So the newer ones that we'll look at later, the newer Hornby 040s, a lot of them have been geared down to run slower. This one hasn't been. But if you take really good care of these, I mean, I tell you what, I can get him to do a really good crawl. But you have to take care of these things or else, you know, they won't be able to do that. What I always thought was interesting is underneath it says built in, and then that is crossed out because usually it would say Great Britain. Instead of replacing with China, it just says built in. And we'll never know where Percy came from. I guess you could say he's a bit of an enigma. Next Percy is actually my first Hornby model ever. It's this Percy. This one came in the Percy in the Mail Train set, which was my first Hornby train set. Got Percy before Thomas. Well, he's seen some stuff, but he still runs perfectly fine. This one's currently on eBay at the moment. If he doesn't sell, I won't be very disappointed because, again, this is my first model, so I don't really care what he looks like. He's, you know, my first Hornby train. So this Percy is special to me, but if someone else wants him, he's on eBay. Just take good care of him, okay? If not, I'm keeping him. Next up is another Percy. This is a 2016 Percy. It says right there, 2016. I just noticed this one also says, right here, it says built. And then it's been blocked out. I wonder if the other one's like that. Yeah, it is. It's just blocked out. Interesting, okay. But this Percy is one a lot of people like. And I will say it is quite nice. Because basically what happened is this Percy used to look like this. Okay. And then I added like the white running board and stuff to detail it up. And then like a few years after I did that, this Percy came out basically doing the exact same thing. So kind of a strange evolution. This Percy was sent to me by the Clay Railways as well, so thank you very much. I will say that the coloring is quite nice on him. I do like the detail. I prefer this Percy, because sometimes simple just works for me, but I tell you what, this is a pretty nice looking Percy, isn't it? Okay, so moving right along.
And here is Toby.
Now, a lot of people don't like the Hornby Toby, but I love the Hornby Toby. He shares the same chassis as Bill and Ben, so he's quite a strong engine. I will be honest, he is quite tall. Let me grab Shawmish. So as you can see, yeah, he is kind of tall. Is he realistic to the actual size of a J70 steam tram? Not at all. Is he a good model of Toby? I think so. And this one will last you years and years and years. The Bachmann one will last you months. If you're lucky. One thing I do like this model for, though, is he has side rods. Toby in the show has side rods, which a lot of people don't seem to talk about, but he actually does. So, chassis-wise, this Toby is more accurate than the Bachmann one. Suck on that. Alright, next up is Emily. I know, don't get pressed that Duck isn't after Toby. We'll get to him right after Emily, I promise. But I like Emily more than Duck. Fight me. Not by much, but I do prefer Emily, so shut up. So Emily is a Dean single, where in the show she is a Sterling single. The Sterling singles are gorgeous locos, but so are the Dean singles. I quite like them. I'd like a Lord of the Isles Dean single. That'd be a pretty cool one to have. Emily's quite cool because as far as I know, it's the only Dean single ever by Hornby. I could be wrong, but I've never seen another example. The only Dean single by Hornby to have the updated chassis with no traction tires. Kind of the best mechanism you're going to find on any Dean single, and just so happens to be Emily. And yes, she has the crew. But her detail on the cab came painted. I didn't do that, so very nice, very detailed. She still doesn't have her coal load. I know in the review I think I said I was going to do a coal load. I tried, it didn't look very good, but now I know how to do them, as we'll see later with the Troublesome Trucks, so I'll give it another shot. Until then, Emily's running off air. Okay, after this one, we're gonna go out of number order just to keep things interesting, but here's Duck, as I promised, number 8. I very much like the Hornby Duck, he's very cool. He used to not have a vacuum pipe. I didn't notice that till I was till I was filming the return episode with him and Diesel and Class 40. I didn't realize he didn't have a vacuum pipe, so I put one on there. Fun fact is, I swapped motors with him and Thomas because he always ran like super smooth for some reason. So did Thomas, but he just ran slightly smoother, so I just swapped their motors because obviously, you know, Thomas gets run a lot more because he's Thomas. I'm surprised out of all my videos, no one has ever pointed this out. This chimney top is not normal. This is from a Bachmann Percy. I would love to have, what I'd like to do is get a copper chimney top that they use on their standard pannier tanks, because I think he looked nice with the gold one, but until then, he's rocking the Bachmann Percy funnel bit there. Like I said, I'm going in a random order now to keep things interesting and less predictable. So here's Stepney, who is obviously not number 9, which would come after number 8. He is number 55. But dog, I love the Hornby Stepney. And I've had this one since 2012. There you go. He was my 3rd loco, I believe. It was Percy, Thomas, and Stepney. He actually has I think it's an A4 vacuum pipe you put on the tender, but I just thought it looked really cool, so I just put it on Stepney because I thought it looked cooler than the one it came with. So he's got a lot of nice detail on the cab and everything. This is one I see a lot of people after, and I totally get it. This one is very nice. Stepney is such a cool, not only character, he's such a cool, you know, engine in real life, and he's such a cool Hornby model, so I get it. If you can pick one up for not the price of a house, I would do it. Now that Stepney was a limited production model, and so is this one. Stepney and Spencer were only made in, or they were re-released rather, in limited production of 1000. So, just thought that was something to say. I mean, look at this thing. It's even got the speedo. My other A4 doesn't even have a speedo assembly. Like, if you're gonna look me dead in the face and say you prefer the Bachmann Spencer, there's a place you should visit. Think of like a bunch of mattresses all over, like a nice condensed room. They have you in this like nice comfy jacket to where you can't really move your arms and stuff. I think it's called an asylum or something. You should probably go to one of those. Hornby Spencer's fantastic. A lot of people don't like the black wheels. I don't mind the black wheels because most A4, every A4 I can think of except for I think Silverlink has black wheels. Could be wrong though. So, oh no. The LNER blue ones have like maroon wheels, but a lot of the A4s I know of have black wheels. So, like the BR green ones and stuff like that. Brake rigging, which came installed. You didn't even have to do that, which was just super nice. Yeah, fantastic model. I love this thing. And metal sprung buffers, because of course. And he does have crew that I've fitted in there, that they are. I would say pick one up if you can, but you might have to sell a kidney for this one. Alright, moving right along, we have Diesel 261 or Class 40 or Bowler or whatever the hell you want to call him. Now, I've had this model for quite a while. I very much like this one. The top, not a lot of separately fit. I don't think there's any separate. I mean, again, besides the buffers, but the molded detail is like really nice on this. It really doesn't even matter. Accurate face. It's got glazing on all the windows. So this bogie is powered. This one picks up like your, you know, standard Class 37 of the time. So yeah, very nice. I'm actually kind of glad they went with the Class 37 rather than the Class 40, because the Class 40 has an extra set of wheels, which makes it kind of like, I don't think it'd be able to go around first radius. So imagine being a kid with like a Thomas train set with first radius curves, and you get a train that can't work on it. It's kind of sad. Whether you collect Bachmann, Hornby, Pico, Lifelike, no one collects Lifelike. Pick this one up. This one's awesome. Now, if someone were to ask me, if you were to pinpoint a character in your collection that your fans like the most, which one would it be? I would probably have to say the Flying Scotsman. Everyone seems to really like this one, and I totally get it. This one is so cool. He is getting a bit dusty though. I will say. Got the 4472 on the buffer beam, metal sprung buffers, because Hornby's cool like that. I believe this livery is exclusive to the Thomas model, specifically the lining around the tender. Usually it doesn't go in like that. I think they did that to match the Thomas style, which I think is a really cool attention to a detail. I did fit a crew inside a Scotsman as well, because 'tis what I do. If any of y'all know how to access the inside, because I know this thing needs to be serviced, and it kills me that I can't. I think there's like screws down here, but they're teeny tiny and I don't know how to get to them. At least I'd assume that's how you do it. I don't know. For anyone who knows how to get inside one of these, please let me know, because this is like the only model I haven't been able to fully service. Like, I've been able to work on the loco part, but I can't get into the tender, which is where the motor is, and it you know, you need to service these or else over time, you know, this model's from like what, 05? It's getting kind of old, so for those who know how to get to this, literally, like, tell me, please. Moving on to a custom. We don't have many of these because I don't really make too many customs, but here's Molly. She's going to be kind of hard to see because her yellow is very bright. Metal sprung buffers on this one. This is a modified D16. I'd like to get a LNER green model of a Hornby D16 because these things are fantastic. Yeah, went in and did all the detail. I took the coal out because I usually put real coal in there. And I didn't paint this, it came painted. I wish I could show this a bit better. I can't detach the loco from the tender, so just bear with me. It's all painted in there. This is one of Hornby's best models. I just painted it to look like Molly. Shout out Tank Engine John, by the way, for printing these faces for me. I actually printed quite a few. I think Thomas Modler is the one who had the CAD for the face. I would shout you out, but you charge too much for your faces, man. Sorry about it. Next up are Aran Birds. Originally, they were supposed to be Splatter and Dodge, but I'd assume due to the failure that was the Magic Railroad, they're like, yeah, let's go with Aran Bird instead. And they lasted a long time. I'm sure if they went with Splatter and Dodge, it would have been discontinued after not very long. Now, for those who don't know, this is Airy and this is Bird. I'm almost 100% sure this is Airy and this is Birds. A lot of people get them mixed up because I think in like one catalog they said this was Airy and this was Bert, but every single year after that they changed it back. And how I remember is this is a Splatter face, that's a Dodge face. Splatter, Dodge, Airy, Bert. I think that makes sense, correct? Pretty simple tooling. These ones didn't cost me too much at all. I've had these ones for quite a while and I really do like them. They're really cool when you put them like this, you know, double heading a train together or something. They're very cool. Where's Stepney? Next one is not a steam or diesel engine. It's, well, Birdie the bus. I'm trying to stick to the model trains, but Birdie was released by Hornby, and he is a character, so I figured we'd look at Birdie. He is battery powered. Quite a cool features. That's why I made that whole setup for him on my layout, because he can traverse it on his own. I don't gotta pull him with like a string or something, which is really cool. I don't know, I love this thing. I don't know why. He's just so cool. And he's fun because you can just... Now this is supposed to primarily be a HO00 video, but I do have one N-Gauge Thomas character. It's the Bachmann Scarlo. I do like Scarlo though, because he is primarily made out of die cast, which is very nice. Yeah, I'd get more. They're just kind of pricey for what they are, but still very cool. I'm glad I got Scarlo. He's very, you know, like I said, he's good quality because he's almost all metal. He's got good weight. He is teeny tiny, which is, you know, accurate. Here's Percy, for size comparison. So, yep, he's about in scale like in the show. He is supposed to be very little, as, you know, he's an aero gauge engine. So, this one I would recommend, and you can still pick him up quite easily. Okay, getting another Bachmann model out of the way. Here is Salty, which is one I really don't use too often. This one is pretty much my brother's. But what I did do is I went in and I just heavily weathered him. And I masked up the front where his coupling hook thing used to be, so he looks a lot better, I think. I got him, I want to say like 8 years ago now, so actually Salty's holding up pretty well. I recommend this one. Although this is the old Salty. I think they re-released him and he doesn't look as good, so if you can get your hands on an old one, I mean, that's what I would do, I don't know. Next one's a bit of a strange one. This is a LMS Ginty. So basically, this was a standard LMS Ginty from Hornby. My brother painted it blue to look like Thomas, and now years later we're like, okay, we kind of just want a Ginty again, so we did this This is a stencil we made and just sprayed it. We haven't added the numbering yet, and there's no lettering or numbering on the other side. We haven't gotten around to it. This is just like a little side project we're working on. The model runs fine though. It used to not run at all, but again, I just went in there and did my usual shtick because this has a Type M motor, which, you know, I've dealt with so many times, so I'm familiar with it. Yeah, nothing crazy. I won't look at this for too long. It's one for my collection, and it's pretty cool. I promise we'll look at more Thomas characters. I just need to get these guys out of the way. I'll focus on this for about 10 seconds. It's a BNSF. I don't know what kind of class this is. I really don't like American trains. I'll be completely honest with you. There's very few I like. But this was like 25 bucks. It's a model power engine. So for 25 bucks, this is fantastic. It does the job, and it was really cheap, so. Alright, next up is Devious Diesel. Not my only Devious Diesel, I do have another one. This one is the 2000s Diesel, which was sent to me by the Clay Railways. So, again, thank you, Clay. This one I just went in and cleaned up. He ran really well when I got him. I just serviced him. So he runs just a little bit better, but there's nothing wrong with the performance when I got him. I've never had this version of Diesel until Clay sent it like 2 weeks ago. And I tell you what, this face is scary. I mean, look at it. Like, it's cool. Like, I really like it. He's just, God, he looks free. But a very cool model of Diesel. But again, not the only Diesel. Here's the one y'all have seen in my videos. This is the very rare Diesel. This one is from the 1980s, I'm pretty sure, or very early 90s, but I want to say 1980s. This one was made in England rather than made in China. This is a very rare version of Diesel. You never see this thing come up. So I'm glad I have both versions of Diesel. It's the same mold, just painted differently. And yeah, this one has the oval buffers like I believe most Class 08s in real life did. This has the more traditional Thomas circle buffers. Let me know which one y'all like more. I like both of them, so I don't have a favorite. I like the face on this one a little more, I would say, than this one. But I like the oval buffers, and they're metal too. They're not sprung, but they are metal. So these are the last Bachmann models loco-wise that we're going to be looking at, and it is Donald and Douglas. I will not have these for long. I plan on sending these off to Bluebell Productions because he's got some models I want and I got some models he wants, so we're going to do a bit of a trade. So I don't really run these two very often outside my series, but I mean, they're still very cool. I mean, they have like an all-metal chassis, so they're built a lot better than your usual Bachmann engines, which is very nice and very refreshing. These have been matte finished because I hate this stupid shiny Bachmann paint. It's got the, they both got the crank pins painted in black as well. And I just blue tacked the eyes in place, so if I want to reposition them, I just take the face off, move the eyes. Although, again, typically I keep them facing forward like all the other characters. And I actually think the price is kind of fitting for them, I'll be honest. I mean, I wish they were a bit cheaper, but, you know, they're still nice. Next up is Oliver, the Great Western engine. This is a very cool model indeed, definitely. I mean, this was like my favorite. I mean, I wanted Hornby Olivers for so long. So now that I mean, I've had them for years, and I'm still so excited with this one. I love this one so much. Got the handrails, the vacuum pipe. I mean, nothing's broken off him. I got him brand new. He wasn't used. So he's, you know, in mint condition pretty much. He's got quite a nice amount of detail in there. He's got the different size whistles, like the 14XXs did in real life. I can't remember on top of my head if the model Volver in the show had two different size whistles, because if it doesn't, it actually, I don't think it would be accurate, but this one is. Yeah, this is one I definitely recommend if you can get your hands on them. That is Oliver. The next two engines are Bill and Ben. These ones are very new to me. These are ones I've wanted since forever, and I could just never seem to find a seller that would ship to the United States, or I could never find them for a good price, or I could never find them with the box, but then I finally found them both boxed for a great price. I got them each for about 45 bucks, which is very good, I think, for what they are. And these ones are very rare in the sense that the molding for these, like the tooling, has, at least the rumor goes that they've been destroyed. So they're not bringing Bill and Ben back at all, or using their tooling again, so these guys are very special. I haven't done a review on Bill and Ben yet, I just realized, so if you'd like to see a review on these two, please let me know, and I will. They're so cool. I love the look of them. They, like, the Bachmann ones are very nice too, because I have owned the Bachmann ones. These remind me more of like Season 2 Bill and Ben, while the Bachmann ones kind of remind me of more like the hit era kind of look on the Bill and Ben. And I think Bill and Ben are like classic characters. Like I tend to associate them more with like season 2 than I do with, you know, season 9 or something. Ben is 2006 and Bill is 2001. So another 2001 model for the collection. I have a lot of 2001 and 2005. Not only are their face shades slightly different, I guess his is more of like a dark gray. His is almost like more of like a beige color. I don't know how apparent that is on camera. But the coloring in general is slightly different. Again, it's going to be hard to tell. But his like SCC is easier to read than Bill's and stuff. So I don't know why that is, but Ben is definitely harder to come across than Bill because Bill was included in a train set with Thomas. Ben wasn't ever in a train set, so, or at least this version. The Clockwork one, I believe, was, but the this version wasn't. I quite like these two. I know a lot of people prefer the Bachmann one, and I get it because I've owned them. Those are very nice models, but something about these I quite like. Alright everybody, last loco we're going to be looking at. I figured we'd end it off with this beast. This is obviously the Mallard. Well, I shouldn't say obviously because this isn't in the traditional LNER livery that she's usually in. This is the BR Blue with the running number 60022. I got this one in a train set with those blood and custard coaches y'all see in my videos. It's the cream and dark red ones that I use. If you'd like to see a review on this train set as well, I will definitely do it. It's a great train set. Especially because it's available in the US, so if you go on like Train World or something, this is one you don't have to pay for import shipping or anything. Like you can just get this one here in the States. I would. We got metal sprung buffers. It's pretty much the same tooling as Spencer, however, it does not, let me show y'all, it doesn't have the Speedo assembly, which is like the extra little linkage rod that's usually right here. This one doesn't have it. I don't know whether that's like accurate or they just did that to make it a little more simple. I don't know why. This tender is permanently connected because this has the newer kind of style ones compared to the other ones. It's like the permanent drawbar with the wires so you get better pickup and stuff. But yeah, the tender is very light on this, but I think it's because it's hollow for like a decoder. And this one was designed with the new Hornby smoke unit in mind. So I'll probably fit this with the smoking. I don't know if the Hornby one's going to be any good. If it is, then I will, because it's kind of designed for it. If not, I'll just put a Soothe one in here, because I'd love to have at least one model that makes smoke. I always wanted like the Mallard, because I have the Flying Scotsman. Obviously, it's the Thomas version, but I have a Scotsman. I always wanted like a Mallard, you know. Here is Spencer next to, what would they be, cousins? Something like that. Look at that, that looks so cool. I know, I love the A4. So now we're going to move on to the rolling stock. And then I won't be showing off like road vehicles or helicopters and cranes. That would take way too long. So I'll show off the rolling stock and then I will show all the engines in action. Alright everyone, time to look at rolling stock. What do you mean you don't care? I'm going to make this as quick as possible. This will be a lightning round. Let's go. First up, Troublesome Trucks. They have removable coal loads. I made these out of a Hornby track pack box. They're pretty easy. If you want a tutorial on how to do that, I'll make one for you. Toad. Brown paint on them, GWR, really cool. I made a review on him with Oliver, so if you want to see him in more detail, there you go. Shout out Alan for this one. He sent me this for Christmas a few years ago for free because he's cool like that. Annie and Clarabelle, they're not standard because if I pop the roofs off, see all that, I have lighting in here, which you have seen in episodes, so I don't have to rely on the track for power for the lights. See? Pretty cool. My Aunt Heidi showed me how to do that with the lighting, so if you're watching, I miss you! These Annie and Clarabelle from the 1990s. These were sent to me by the Clay Railways. Again, thank you, Clay. Kind of a same song, different verse kind of deal we got going on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the open wagons. I love these things so much. Thank you, Z-Man Thomas Studios, for sending me 2 of these. The other 3 I got in a train set. I can't tell you which one because it's been years now. I believe this is a 4-plank wagon. I weathered it up and everything. Very nice wagon. It's got the newer couplings. It's really cool. It looks good behind your smaller engines like Stepney and stuff. Next up is a custom. This is Hector. Maybe I'll show you guys how to make a Hector one day. This was one of the cheapest customs to do. Thank you, by the way, to my brother for helping me out with the vinyl stuff. That's kind of his forte. This one, I believe, I'm going to send off to Bluebell Productions, so hopefully he'll do a video on it. I don't really use Hector much besides the videos, but I know he'll use Hector a lot more than I will, so there you go, buddy. Okay, next 2 are technically not, I don't own these 2, I'm just borrowing these 2 for the time from Z-Man Thomas Studios, which I just realized I've been saying Z-Man Thomas Studios. I believe the new channel name is Starry Sky Entertainment. Again, not really mine, but I figured I'd show them off because I like them. Next one is a Bachmann mail coach. I used to have a very weathered one that I did, and it was like the CGI version. That one is actually with Z-Man Thomas Studios at the moment.
Oops. Gotta go see it.
No, touchy. It's very, very expensive.
I'm sorry.
I don't plan on doing anything to it because from what I've heard, these ones are pretty hard to come by, so I'm going to keep this one in good condition and take good care of it. So thank you, Clay, for that one. Next three are these vent vans. Really cool pieces of rolling stock. If you're doing something like the Flying Kipper, I'd pick those ones up. There's the Cattle Wagon, which is by far my best rolling piece of rolling stock. I think I'll just keep going. Okay, these next four are staples of the Thomas franchise. Everyone knows the milk tankers. I have 4 of them. I don't really know where they all came from, but I'm happy I have 4 of them. 3 of the Sodor scrap wagons. These 2 I weathered, and I think they look decent. It's just I took the couplings off because there was a point in time where I was going to use like screw link couplings. I was just going to invest in a bunch of those, and then I chose not to. So yeah, unfortunately these 2 do not have any couplings on them. We got this one, Scruffy. I just cleaned this one up very recently, so he's in mint condition.
Where's Oliver?
3 of the cream tankers. I got these 3 in a lot a few years ago. Around the same time I got Emily and the windmill. Very cool lineup. I like the Hit Era rolling stock. I don't care. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Bachmann wagons. Pretty scary looking face I gave this one. Next up we got 2 tar tankers. Very classic pieces of Thomas rolling stock. I don't know anyone who doesn't like them. Dude! Next up is the raspberry syrup tanker. I only have 1 of these. Next one is the oil tanker. Again, only got 1 of these. Sodor fuel tanker next. Only have 1 of these. The LNER T coaches. I love these. 1 composite, 2 composite. Got 3 of them. Next up are pretty much, I mean, they're kind of customs. They're not that crazy. They were a 2016 Anning Clerbo, which I've removed the faces and everything on, and I've just heavily weathered them. I don't use them as much as I do with other rolling stock, but I guess if y'all are interested, let me know and I might list these ones. Okay, I have about 8 of these, but I'm only going to show off 3. They are the red branch line coaches. I have like 8 in total. It's just, here's the 3 I'm showing. 2 of the, I believe these are Great Western, just by looking at the colors here, of these 4-wheel coaches. These are really cool. I like these. Here's, I only have 1. Again, I like to have more. This is, it looks like Caledonian, I'd imagine, with the blue and white Caledonian livery, so Scottish wagon. Next up are the Blood and Custer BR coaches. I love these as well. These came in that train set with Mallard that we looked at earlier. I absolutely love these. Next up is Henrietta. I think I will be selling Henrietta as well, just because I think I'm going to make a custom one to match the height of Hornby Toby a little better. So if you want a really nice Henrietta and you don't feel like doing all the work to make it look like that, well, there you go. Next one is the operating mail coach. This came in the Percy mail train set. This would hit something on the track where you could collect the mail and then it would like deposit it. It's like a whole play feature, so that made the set super, super fun. So that's why I've kept this mail coach around, because it's fun. I'm just going to show off all 3 of my brake vans at once. I only have 3, but I don't know whether this is a Thomas brake van or not. It could very well not be one, but I don't care. It's awesome. This one I'm almost for certain is a Thomas branded brake van. Very cool. This is basically just kind of like the brake van I use if I'm using the other one, so nice extra piece. I might sell this one though, because I know that the Bachmann brake van, which is what this is based off, is quite rare, so if you want one, there you go. Last but not least, breakdown crane. The arm can raise and lower. The actual hook itself can raise and lower. Let's see, like that. Very cool piece of rolling stock, definitely. Alright, so that just about does it. I'm sure I missed a few, but I don't know, there's so many to go through, I kind of lose track. Let's watch the engines do their thing, shall we?
In public restrooms prank.